guys, welcome to another edition of Vegan Holistic Live. This time we're doing it not on Instagram, but we are doing an exclusive amazing interview with Hans Wilhelm. He is an amazing spirit. I found him personally on YouTube, and he's just inspired so many people with over 40 million viewers. He's also a illustrator and author, selling over 150 million copies. And, obviously he's here in this realm to touch many lives and inspire so much. So it's a pleasure having you, Hans. Thank you so much for being here.
Well, it's an honor to be here. Thank you so much. Thank you for thinking of me. I'm delighted to be here.
Oh, gosh. So, we have so many questions we have to get to. But first of all, how did you start your studies?
My study started when I was very young already. I just couldn't believe what I learned in the churches and the organized religion. Somehow it didn't make sense. And I questioned life already very early in my life. And that was a time before internet and so on. So I had to refer to books and whatever I could find. It was not very easy. But I started, I think, as a teenager, I started with TM, Transcendental Meditation, which was really the first impact, where I also learned how important it is on how powerful we are, that we can calm our mind, that we don't have to think every thought which comes in our mind, that we have control of what we are thinking, how fast we are thinking, and actually we can calm it down to virtually zero. And when we can do that, we are very powerful. And the moment I learned that technique, I became far more self-assured, because suddenly I was much less anxiety about future and about everything else, because I suddenly realized how powerful I became. Now, I no longer do the TM. That was just at the beginning, just to start it off. But I think it was a very helpful tool. And then I learned other stuff like Edgar Cayce, very powerful for me to study, to firstly to understand and hear that actually something about reincarnation, which was of course not shared in my Christian kind of upbringing. So that really had an impact on me. Suddenly it all made sense. Why are people rich? Why are poor? Why are sick? Etc. etc. These were all the questions I had, and they were answered just by the simple understanding that Christ taught reincarnation. And it is mentioned directly or indirectly in the Bible as well. So when we understand that, a lot of things are shifting already. And then we also understand our responsibility to ourselves and to everybody around us, because whatever we send out comes back to us. So there's a lot of dynamic. And over years, I've met many wonderful other teachers. And and that's sort of, and then one day, it was actually when my father was sick and was dying, and we kids were with him for the last few days of his life. And he was a soldier in the Second World War, and he had seen a lot of death, and he didn't believe in life after death, but he didn't mind dying. So I shared with him, as he was not able to speak anymore. I said, look, at just in case the soul continues after you die, these are the things which you probably might experience. So don't be surprised. So I told him what I think would happen, or what I know, what I've heard from many people on many reports, and he had life-death experiences and so on. And he sort of, after I was done, he smiled, and then a few days later he died. No, I forgot totally about everything about it. But 4 or 5 years later, I was at a book signing of a medium. And before I came in, or just as I came in, he rushed up to me. I've never seen the person, and he has never seen me. And he says, "Oh, you're just coming in. Your father has just come in." And he said to me, "Go to this man there. He was just coming in. He's my son. And I want to thank him for all what he says to me, because everything what he said was true. And it helped me tremendously on the other side to find my bearings." And now I'm working actually in the receiving station for souls who are parting and leaving. And he says, "Would I please write books about it and tell more people about it?" And I thought about it for a while, and then I decided that I wouldn't write more books about it, but I was going to do videos, because I was very interested to reaching young people predominantly. Remembering my own time when I was young and confused and didn't know anything and couldn't find the answers. So I made, at that time it was YouTube, was a vehicle to go. Today it probably would be TikTok, but I would have problems squeezing it in 1 minute. So what I do actually is I basically illustrate. I'm a writer and illustrator of children's books, and what I do is I illustrate very simple here with simple drawings of how karma works, what happens here if we hurt somebody. It gets stored in the Akashic records and the planets, and they come back to us. And when you see that in a video, it becomes very, very clear. I'm following Einstein's famous line. It says, if you can't explain it to a 6-year-old, you probably haven't understood it yourself. So I have to make it very, very simple so that I understand it myself and hopefully others too. And the more you study the spiritual laws, the eternal laws, the more you realize how absolutely simple they are. They are not difficult. They are not hidden. It is very clear. Somebody said, God is ingenious simplicity. And the highest form of sophistication is simplicity, as Leonardo da Vinci calls it. So simplicity is there. We just sometimes, our ego likes to make it complicated and makes it important, whatever, so that it can be more complicated, the more we can hide it. Complication is hiding the truth. Truth is simple, is always there. God is always there for us to communicate with. He's not hiding. So that was a very short but partly long introduction. Maybe.
Yes. Yes. So then, how were you fully confident to share your knowledge and wisdom? I mean, for me, I can definitely relate to you what you're saying as far as just being very young and you never submitted to what they would say the truth was. I remember just being like 12 years old, finding out about like the Bohemian Grove and all these things. And, and I was like, oh my God, who would I talk to? And, anyway, with all that to say, though, I just wasn't, I guess, quote, quote, like you in a sense where it was like I sought the knowledge, I found it, and then I was like, wait, okay, there's no one around, so I gotta like hide back, and then so I did the Matrix thing for a bit, and then but it always kept calling. So what happened to you? How did you fully surrender and apply and just know instead of just reading? You know what I mean?
Let's put it that way. Whilst I'm reading, being an illustrator, I see things the way how it connects. A connects with B, connecting the dots and having always a big picture. And when I read something or study something that makes total sense to me, then I draw this out. And in drawing it, it just becomes even more clearer to me. So the clarity comes by just simply connecting the dots. Mm. And the more I had an overview of all these things, the more I knew how it all connected with each other. And of course, I also was very, very fortunate having had wonderful teachers throughout these years whose lesson I have learned, and hopefully much of it also applied in my life. I think knowledge comes only when you do it, actually, not from knowing it. Knowledge itself is useless. You have to apply it, you have to use it. And I am struggling with it and working with it, but that is my task. And when I apply to make a connection with God, for instance, and find it in meditation and so on, I've done it, so I know it. I don't believe in God. I know there's a God. So my knowing, of course, I cannot transfer. Everybody has to make their own knowing because everybody has to make their own experience. But I know that, for instance, as a fact. And working from there, I shared it. Then I had, of course, wonderful books which are presently given to a medium or a prophet, you call it in Germany, Gabriele, who gives the highest form of information today in today's life, in today's time, in very clear, understandable language, which, for instance, is not the case when you read Edgar Casey and Rudolf Steiner. They are very, very difficult texts. You have to read the sentence 3 times before you think you get it. Then Gabri's information comes through very clear, very direct, written, lots of books. And sometimes I just take a chapter out of these books which resonate with me, and which I've tried out, and then just illustrate them and share that with other people and on my videos. And anybody's interested, they can go to the books or not. It's not to sell any books, it's just there to share. This material is available for everyone who wants it. It's nothing is hidden. You don't have to join any group, neither with my channel, the lifeexplained.com there are no members, there's nothing to buy, nothing you have to join, nothing to pay. I don't charge for anything. The videos are all free. So I do this as a kind of hobby, you may say, but it's also more than, it's a little bit like a mission. I enjoy doing it because, as I said earlier, I learned from it tremendously. And from the feedback, as you can see from the comments under the videos, a lot of people find some help in it. And that's all. And I always believe if only one person is positively touched by what I do, whether I write a book, illustrate a book, or whether a video, that's enough. It's all the work, even if I spend weeks or months to prepare something, but one person is touched, that's all we have to do. It is sometimes the very smallest thing. I think Ravi always mentioned that sometimes it's only a smile which we give to a stranger in the street, which may be the only purpose why we income, so that the person, the other one, gets sometimes a very good energy. There's a wonderful story. I'm trying to remember. When a young girl, a teenager, wanted to commit suicide. It was really, and one day she was really, really upset. Says, "I'm going to do that." And she, on her way home from school, she was in her thoughts and how she planned it out. She was doing it, and suddenly a big SUV came and drove up to her and stopped right in front of her. Nearly would have knocked over. And she just woke up and looked at the driver, and there was this woman, smiling driver, really wonderful, warm smile. And that smile got right into her to such a degree that when she came home, she no longer wanted to commit suicide. That is an energy which was exchanged between these two, which stopped her to make that deed. So sometimes it's a smile like this, which can be more important than big names, big careers, whatever we do. So it's the small things in the life which sometimes can be the most life-changing influences on others and also on ourselves.
Yes, yes, agreed, agreed. And I mean, everything, there's so much to elaborate on everything that you said, but there's so much more to ask you. So I'm just going to leave it at that, that you just said everything so perfectly. And the way you just really break everything down where it's easy for people. I know so many people have said that in your comments, and that's what you do. And with your mission and your purpose, like you said, and just how you provide this information to people, and just you're really living your role. So it's amazing. But what are some daily rituals, quote quote, or routines or practices that you do personally, maybe, or maybe you would kind of recommend to people to possibly incorporate in their life?
Well, of course, the first thing is to when you wake up is to thank the divine force, wherever God, that you can wake up and have another opportunity to serve. And then, of course, the meditation. I think the meditation, it does not need to be a long one, but something to really calm one's mind after the sleeping and after the dreaming phase and so on, is to really calm our minds, to tune ourselves into the divinity within ourselves. God is within us. We don't have to go out there. We don't have to go to church or anywhere else. God is in us. We are the kingdom of God. The God is in us. So doing definitely a meditation at least once, hopefully twice a day would be fabulous. And then I think one of the most important things is throughout the day, whenever I have a change of my emotion or notice a change of my emotion, I know immediately, this is the message for me. Immediately there's something not right, something I have to do, something I have to clear up. Something is coming back to me. It's a reflect. The outside world is nothing but a mirror of myself. So if there's something or someone outside who upsets me and annoys me, then that person is reflecting back to me something which is not loved within myself. So the whole day through, whenever I'm out of sort, out of balance, I realize this is a message for me right now, right there. So divinity speaks to us throughout the day continuously, quietly. And the way we hear it is actually through our changing of emotions and feelings and sensation in ourselves. Are we getting agitated? Are we getting impatient? Are we getting angry? All these things are just messages, and I think that is a major key to clear up anything by looking. We call this the day's energy, and I think I have that well demonstrated in my video, the amazing Earth School. It basically says that we come here for a very short time and to learn and to purify ourselves and to clear up our old karma. And we do this way by experiencing all these imbalances in ourselves throughout the day, which are energies which are coming back, we are loaded down from the repository planets, karma you can call it. Yes, this is now the right moment to clear up something in yourself. And it can be anything, it can be with other people, with ourselves. It's all different, each case is different. So I think the most important ritual, you may call it, I do believe in rituals as such. I made a video on rituals and how harmful they are actually, and is to pay attention to the day's energy from morning to evening.
Yes, yes.
Because with this with the emotional charge always comes the answer. There is also the answer in it. If we really reflect on it. And sometimes we can't do it right away because we are in a discussion, we're on the phone with somebody and so on, and make a note. It says, I will look in this whenever I have a moment's time. It says, why, what, or was I get so upset about this person? It's just a few minutes ago. Because at the moment may not be clear, but when I sit up with, he was doing that, he was saying that, yes, I do that too. Yes, I do that too. And suddenly the other person came only in my life as a mirror. Everybody is a mirror.
Yes. Yes, yes. And it's a deeper level of understanding. I mean, people say that, but when you can actually wake up and grasp that, it changes your whole just experience, right? And so
You're never a victim anymore. Never.
yes, yes. You're not in control, but you're in control now, if that makes sense.
It makes sense. Yeah. Yeah. Yes,
Yeah.
somebody can hurt you, and from that perspective, you are a victim right now. But how you can use it is not as a victim, or you can be a victorious person out of this one. Understand this happens only to me because, and now I can do something about it.
Mhm.
And therefore, everything is here to serve us. Everything is here as medicine, and everything that happens to us to bring us home.
Yes, yes. So then how can you actually what would you say to a person that's shifting out of fear thoughts of doing something like, example, you enjoy doing this, right? And you do it for quote, quote, free and stuff. But when a soul wants to get out of that, but they also need to remove lack from their life, but also wants to enjoy what they're doing, what would you recommend for someone like that?
I'm not totally sure I understand you, May. If you don't mind repeating, maybe this will be more specific on this one.
Yeah, sure, sure. So let's say a spirit or a person, individual, they want to shift out of like the fears and the lack thoughts, right? But they also want to pursue something they enjoy, but because of things like money and bills or life, like they feel like they're stuck and they cannot quote, quote, enjoy life or get out of a fear or a thought because they're in something. What would you recommend for someone to do at that time to remove themselves out of that and get more in the thought of knowing that they're free?
What you're saying is somebody who's stuck in a job who wants to become more spiritual and wants to share his or her spirituality with others.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, it's a comment, but it's a very valid point. First of all, my first reaction comes to is wherever we are right now is no coincidence. So, am I leaving this place really because of negative emotions? Well, then we are leaving it, and we may just come into another situation, like leaving one bad marriage and going to the next bad marriage. Let's first resolve the situation when right now, so that I leave this really peacefully. It says, okay, I've been a builder all my life, etc., but I no longer want to do that. As long as I don't hate my job and do something else, because the hatred is already a signal there, something to look into. So I think to really leave something behind, we have to firstly clear up all the negativity that may be surrounding. There can be in a working environment that there are people and relationships which are negative. And we just want to get out of there and want to do something spiritual or whatever it is. So, and we will take that negative energy with us again, and we will find it in a different way until we solve it. So I think the first step is to solve it. And I also feel whatever, a lot of these jobs and professions are not necessarily making money right away. One can also start slowly, I think. And I've done this when I did my art. I worked in an office for a long time, and I started in the evening to do my children's books for a long time until they until I could make a living of it myself full time. So stay maybe with where you are for a while and use the other time or what you really your soul is craving for. Also, I think it's important to realize, why do I want to do that? What is my motivation? Is it sometimes a lot of people want to help other people, but the person who really needs help is themselves, firstly. And we think if I help others, I help myself. That can be the case and may do, but sometimes when we see other people needing some help, we're not seeing them perfect, and we're not seeing them in the way they are supposed to be right now. If they want to have help from us, they will come to us and ask us. Or in my case, I say they click on a video and then can see if they like it. And if they don't like it, that's fine with them as well. But as long as I have to run around and try to have the idea that I have to fix other people's lives, I think there is still something with me that I have to look in first, because the need to help others is there. Of course, there's a lot of need there, but we can do this in many, many forms. We can do this whether check donation, whatever it is. We can do a lot of other stuff to do it, help to do that. But let's be very sure that we do not do this helper syndrome, that we want to feel good because we want to help other people and want to have the feedback, oh, you're doing such a great job, and we build our ego up in it. So this is very careful to we have to really look at it very carefully. What are the true motivations for me to now start a new career? And sometimes it comes automatically. It comes out with very what's the word? It's the natural, very a natural path. Like you start something. I started my videos, was only few, and now it's over 100 and so on. And I enjoy doing it. And one day I may not do it anymore and do something else. That's fine too. But in the meantime, also my income is still my books, books that I write. It's not from my videos. So I continue that as well. So we can do a lot of other stuff. But the first person, I think it's important to heal ourselves. If we go unhealed to help others, we may use other people to heal us. And that could be different. But then again, I wanted to point out very clearly that I'm not a therapist. I'm not a counselor. I've not learned these things, how to deal with other people and counsel them and so on. I'm merely an illustrator who illustrates the spiritual laws, how I understand them. That's basically it. And
Yes.
if anybody comes to me and writes to me and wants to have some deep insights of help, therapeutic help, I always refer them to professionals. I don't do that. I don't see myself skillful to do it.
Yes. And you make really, really important points just, I mean, throughout everything you said right now, but especially with the whole unhealed people trying to heal others. I mean, just in general, I mean, how dangerous can that really be as far as like, can somebody have quote, quote, attachments on them or other entities of souls or people? Is that something that can happen to one? And then if so, if that's the case, can that transfer to somebody else?
Anything can transfer according to the law of attraction, for instance, and any negativity that someone else has. If I have some similar negativity vibrating in myself, can easily be the attracting factor for an energy field. It would be a person, an entity. It can be a thought complex which suddenly attaches itself to me and makes my negativity bigger. Yes, we are magnets. We are continuously sending and receiving, sending and receiving. The whole universe is consciousness, sending and receiving based on the law of attraction. And yes, we can definitely track these things. We can attract negative entities. And I'm not necessarily saying that if you are a healer, that you also attract the negative entities of your clients. But it can be there's something in yourself which is not, which is very attractive to an entity. They may jump over and say, "Hey, this is much more juicier case here. Let's take him." So that's quite possible, and there is a danger. Yeah, there are far more entities around here who just sort of influence other people. We are influenced by so many entities. It can be so that many people can are possessed without knowing it, and that is something also one has to be careful when you enter the field of helping to heal other people. It is something, and it's not easy to help somebody who is apparently possessed. Anybody who likes to know more about it, I have made a video on possessed souls, and it's very interesting. And I have also at the end, I have four medical doctors who have written books about this. So it's not some spiritual larifari here. We are talking about professionals who have dealt all their lives with possessed souls, medical professionals. And in some of these books, give also ideas and suggestions of how to free yourself from these spirits.
Mm.
It's a complicated situation, but there is a lot. And when I think of people, of so many people committing suicide and uh, going in a very negative kind of funk, that is very often the case that they are influenced by negative entity. And it doesn't need to be just one; it can be a whole bunch of these kind of people.
Yes, yes. Which is why it's very important for us to protect our aura and just knowing our aura field, and which leads to my question of just how important is it for a spirit or soul or person to let go of addictions or attachments, and why? I'm assuming that one with addictions or attachments, they would be vibrating at a certain frequency. So could it be that they are more easily able to attract certain things then? Or yeah, can you elaborate on that?
Well, any form of kind of addiction, whatever that addiction is maybe is a juicy food for entities who are here earthbound and who want to continue their addiction through us. In my video on soul, I show how somebody who is a little bit like a little of alcohol can easily be influenced by negative energy, who then attack them and sort of sit usually here on the neck area, sometimes in grades several, and give you continuously thought, oh, I think I need another drink, I think I need another drink, I think I need. So the person thinks it's his thought, his addiction. Fact is that these entities are injecting thoughts into us to do that vice, whatever it is. Can be sex, can be drugs, can be whatever it is, and if we do that, it's an extreme. But once we start any of this in any form of in any kind of access, we are opening ourselves up to these entities who just look at us like juicy grapes and come and just want to take it from us. And we give it to them because most people are not aware that they are carriers of these possessing souls and have these energies sucked out of them. And they feel weak, and then they need more drugs, more sex, more alcohol. It is a very, very sad thing. And anybody who's, many people who can have the inner sight can see this, can see these spirits attaching themselves. It's a horrendous sight to see. And that happens very much in areas like in clubs, discos, bars, and so on, where sort of a lot of addicts are together. This is a cluster of negative souls there. As I said, these souls are nothing or nobody other than just our brother.
Sorry. There you
These
go.
souls,
That's confirmation.
somebody said, don't talk about it. We don't want to know. But these souls are our brothers and sisters. And there are entities who have died, who have been very addicted to or very attached to something here in their earthly life, like for instance, can be alcohol, can be drugs, and so on, have died. And since they die with their desires, and the desires doesn't disappear only because they lay off their body, because the desire is a strong energy. And they want to fulfill it, and they can't do it because they no longer have a physical body to do it. That's why they get earthbound, where they find people, human beings, who do it for them. So the human being then gives them the energy which they are craving for. So they are just brothers and sisters who have really gone very downhill anyway and are using us now. So they are not bad, they are not evil. And when you read the books by some of these doctors who have dealt with people who are possessed, they deal very gently with these entities. They are not saying, oh, you're the devil or whatever. No, they try to convince these entities, these possessing entities, that they are making a mistake, that it's time to leave, etc. It gives them strength, etc. And that's not right to interfere with the free will of the human being, and so on. So they do this in a way lovingly to free the person from these possessing spirits.
Wow. So then something as simple as a quote, quote, food addiction or wanting to smoke is pretty much, it could be that too. And
It
so,
could forward. Not, let's not always jump that this is a spiritual. No, it's just your own weakness. It's not another spirit trying to tell you. It's your own weakness. Be responsible.
exactly, exactly. Because at this point, if you're a conscious being, you just got to know. So that's it. And
No.
so sorry. So, but the next question I had for you actually was, how would you recommend people who overthink or come from a place of mind and to move into a place of heart?
Well, meditation is, of course, the first thing, and slow, deep, profound breathing. I think that calms everything down, calms the thoughts down. And what I always do, but this is, in my belief, the healer, the redeemer, we call it, is the Christ spark, is right in the fourth chakra, which is close to the heart. And there's a flame. We can imagine a flame. In that flame, we can put everything that bothers us, our addictions, our fears, our worries, our many thoughts, whatever it is, put this into the flames and let the flame transform them in positive energy. Imagine that image. Imagine that image, whatever bothers you so much, put them into the flame. The Christ energy does convert it. It's a converter. It converts it into positive energy. Now, you may not jump immediately believe it and so on, but try it out and try it out many times, and you will see how suddenly you get calmer, and the energy in us helps us. We are self-healing energy, bodies. And so if something gets too much, like our mind getting too crazy, we have the element in us to calm ourselves down and focus on that chakra, on the fourth chakra, on the Christ light, and ask for conversion and put it into the light and let it convert. And that calms down a lot. And it also puts us into a more humble perspective. And when we are humble, we are not thinking the intellect, of course, our ego is very, very busy. That's a monkey mind. And the ego is never humble. So, but when we go back and and humble ourselves in front of this immense power that is in us, because the entire is in us. This is one of my videos on the holographic universe, that everything is in everything. The entire creation is in the smallest particle. So everything is us. It's not out there somewhere as well. It's also in us. Everything contains everything. So therefore, everything that is out there is in us. Therefore, all the power we ever would need, it is the God power, the divine power, the Christ power, is in us. All we need is to use it. But nobody has told us it's to use it. This is the thing. This is where spirituality or the teachings like come now who can help us to understand that we have that power in us, at least to convert it from the negative into a power positive energy. And when we do the conversion, then suddenly all the importance of certain things vanish, and suddenly other real importance come up. Sort of everything what drove us drove us so much as being very important, very pressing, suddenly vanishes, and suddenly everything gets calmer and gets into perspective, and we can make better decisions.
Wow.
Here from my own experience, so it's not something which I've read, but whenever I do in a teaser something, then I just sit down and just some deep breath, go within, and the answers are there very quickly. I just sometimes feel that the guardian spirit says, "Oh, I calm down," and so on, etc. Remember, this is only good for you. Whatever is right now is there for you to become free. So first word to say, thank you. Whatever hits the fan, say thank you to it. Thank you, because it is coming at this very moment when you are ready to look at it and change it.
Yes.
You were not ready before. You were not strong enough before. Now you are strong. I heard this wonderful interview of Serena Williams, and and the interview asked her, says, so about this, how difficult it was, and so on. She says, well, challenges are just privilege. I mean, think about it. The challenge is a privilege. The real problem is a privilege. It basically means you are capable of doing it. And that, like this Williams sister showed, they can handle everything and just push everybody aside because they handled every obstacle. They were ready and they were doing it.
Yeah.
We can do that too. Maybe not only with tennis, with everything else.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, gosh, it's very enlightening when someone can really grasp all that you just said right now, Hans. I mean, especially when you said just when the challenge comes, actually thank it and say, wow, universe, divine creation of all, you chose me to go through this. This is amazing. A lot of people just go into that, why me, in the victim mode and all the things. And that's when we give away our power. We're literally giving our power away then. So when somebody is going through something really challenging, though, and I know you made a video, and we gotta actually also, I would like to make sure we have some of the links of the videos you're referencing as well, you know, for people to look back on. But in any case, just wanted to talk about really quick forgiving yourself and forgiving others. You know, obviously it's very, very important to do so on many, many levels, on the soul level, and just for reincarnation purposes and all the lessons. But what would you say for someone that's, quote, having a hard time doing so, and how they would be able to do so in a gentler way?
The first way, if we can't forgive ourselves, it's a sign of extreme vanity. That's very important to remember. When we can't forgive ourselves, it's vanity. Our way says, oh, I'm so spiritual. I should never have done that. Oh, no, my God. How could I have ever done this? I'm far, far further than my action. That is mad ego talk here and so on. No, we just screwed up. That's it. We screwed up, and just be responsible. I did screw up. I made a mistake, etc. So first of all, we accept what we did. And when we accept what we did, then we can also free ourselves from it through the self-forgiveness. And we can, and I believe very strongly, to go within again, to go to the fourth chakra, to go to the Christ dialogue and says, I made a mistake. So with fervent prayer and asking for forgiveness, and it will be granted, and we will feel it with an honest mind. It says, look, I really screwed up and so on. I know it's the 5th time I screwed up, but I really keep on trying to screw up, not to screw up again. I want to do it better, and I will. Give me the strength. Give me the strength. I think that is an important point, to ask for the strength. The moment we ask for strength, strength will be given to us. I can't do it on my own. Next time this temptation comes, next time somebody upsets me, etc., give me the strength that I do it better. And the whole spiritual world is there to help us. The whole reason for them is to help us. Everybody wants us to return home. All the spiritual, our spirit guide, Christ energy, God energy, everybody wants us to come home. We are the prodigal son. And the father wants to have his son home, and daughter, of course, as soon as possible. And he sends out prophets, he sends out angels, he sends out all energies to please everybody come home. But sometimes our vanity doesn't permit us to ask for help. So the vanity is the one which stops us in so many cases, that we do not ask for help, and we think we can't forgive ourselves because we think we are far more spiritual than we actually are. And therefore, I think that's the most important part, to realize that this is, we screw up. This life is here. We don't get we do get some kind how to do book, which is the 10 Commandments and the Sermon on the Mount and the Golden Rule. These are the 3 things which most people in the planet Earth know about it in one way or the other. So these are very clear design. But if we still screw up on these things, and just admit it, go into a deep dialogue with divinity, whether it's Christ, whether it's God, whoever you like to refer to, and to be humble about it and say, look, I just sort of feel I want to do that again. And in an honest discussion, we can do that. And again, it is our ego which prevents us very often, because our ego says, oh, you can't do this and so on. There is nobody within you. There is no flame. There's no energy in that. Forget about it. You're all by yourself, and you just screwed up badly, and that's it. You better suffer, because once you suffer, you feel yourself important again. It's a fake self-importance when we feel we have to suffer because of our mistakes. No, nobody needs to suffer. Suffering is a confused mind.
Exactly. And it's funny that you mentioned this, because my next question actually was, it's important to get out of the ego. So how would you suggest one to get out of the ego when in a hard place?
You tell me. I'm trying to do that myself.
Right.
I wouldn't be here if I wouldn't be struggling with the same thing.
Right, we're still in this body, Hans. We're still here. No.
That is our challenge here. Of course, it's our challenge. And how do we get out of our ego? It's to remember, for whom are we doing this for? For whom? What's the purpose for our this? Is it really to build our ego up, to that everybody admires us, that we get adoration, etc.? If that is the reason for our purpose of what we do, a long ways to go. When we do it really out of love, and we do not care whether we get credit or anybody else gets credit, but when we do it out of love, things change drastically around us.
Yes.
So I think the main purpose is to find out, why am I waking up in the morning? Why do I go to work? Why do I have a family? What am I doing here for? Find it out. Is it really there to get? Because I think the Course in Miracles says it so clearly. There are only two energies. One is to give love, and the other one is crying out for love. And when we find ourselves of crying out for love, is like, I want admiration, I want love, I want affirmation, I want wealth, I want etc. power, etc. Then it's the ego talking, and the ego is still really vulnerable and runs our life. And then we slowly can change over. It says maybe I don't need all that admiration, etc., from other people. Maybe it's more important for me to do something which really corresponds with my soul and what I feel is right for myself. And if others benefit from it, that would be great. Like you said earlier, you are very much on vegan. You are somebody who is concerned about what happens to our animals. Not only, I think, we do it for health reasons, but the brutality we inflict on other animals. This is a small step. We don't have to show the world and tell the world I'm a vegan or whatever. We can do that quietly. And in that way, it's not an ego trip. It's a trip where we do our little step forward to help and serve others.
Exactly.
I'm not a vegan yet. I wish I was. I must say, I still like my eggs and cheese and so on, and occasional fish. So I'm working on it, but I have been a meat eater before. And slowly that's one to a more healthy style, and also a lifestyle which causes less pain and suffering to others.
I mean, that's a whole story, another story on just how I even started. But literally, I asked God what my next steps were, and I woke up with that thought, and I pretty much kind of followed on it. And then every time I tried to steer out of that direction, I would get sick. So I'm kind of stuck for now.
Body and spirit there. Do it really helps you. That's great.
Yeah. But what are some signs you would say a soul would feel when it's fully in alignment with its purpose?
In a struggle, I would say that a certain form of quietness, serenity, quietness. That is when you have your purpose, and then also the strength and joy which comes by fulfilling your purpose. But again, we have to purpose. It's a long topic. I haven't really made a video on it, but I'm still working it out. There's always a fine line. Purpose can be so easily, so subtly linked to our ego, and really to find the fine line that we do not do this for our ego satisfaction. Our ego it's a thin line, and if we do it only for our pleasure as well, it's also not quite right. So it's a thin line. Let's put it that way. I will give you an answer once I make my video on this one. I will avoid this at the moment.
Okay, sounds good. So back to the Akashic records. Have you ever accessed it yourself?
No. I'm not especially spiritually inclined. I don't have any gifts, whatever. I don't speak to the other side.
Yeah.
No, I do not have that skill, but many people have, and many people can. And for them, it's purposeful. No, I'm far too realistic. What the word is, much more in the here now. For the physical, yes.
And and that just kind of goes along with just the practices, right? With what people try and stuff. And I know you've mentioned in a couple of your videos, really people have to be careful. So, when people quote call upon their spirit guides or any deities or angels or ancestors, would you say that some souls or people have more direct access to these other realms than others?
I'm sure that people have a lot of, and some people have access, like the women the books I'm reading is have access to the divinity right in the pure heavens. Yes, but I like to mention this. If we are looking for that kind of connection, let us ask ourselves why. Why do we want it? If it happens to you, if you're born with that, good, fine. But if you want it, there are first a few questions I would ask. you really want to connect your ancestors and your dead uncle or your father or mother or whatever it is, for what reason? Do you really believe that they are smarter on the other side? No, they're not. They're probably as bright or non-bright as they were here. They're the same kind. So we do not change by death. Now, they may over time surely learn the different stuff out there, which they can share, but they're not necessarily higher involved than anybody else running around here in your life. So connecting to ancestors and family members who are dead is something which I would not promote in any form. But there is, of course, there are some exceptions. Sometimes a person dies and the sorrow is, and the pain, the grief is so much that sometimes the spirit appears in their dreams, even in their waking hours, and they connect and just sort of says, basically with the message, I am alive. Don't worry, I am totally alive. I'm not dead. That's basically the basic message. And then we have to let go of them. Because they have their own lesson to learn. We don't cling to people who have died. And if you go to higher spirits, there are a lot of spirits out there, and this is very, very important to remember, who pretend to be spirits and not necessarily are. The negative forces can easily fool us and our ego to be Saint Gabriel or whatever, one of the archangels, or Mary, or even Jesus. And says, because we don't know, somebody speaks to me, or somebody in Africa goes, oh, it must be Jesus because it says it's Jesus. But no, that is not necessarily the case. That is so easy for them to pretend. That's why I do not suggest to go to seances and things like this, because there are many spirits who pretend to be someone else, and we can't know otherwise. So all this thing of pretending, of trying to connect with spirits on the other side, I would be extremely careful, because we do not need it. As I said earlier at the beginning, we get everything we need to learn and to do in our day's energy. From morning till evening, we get very strong emotional, sensational charges in us. Very strong. Sometimes we're very happy, which tells us something. And sometimes we are very upset, very tight, very anxious, frightened, scared. These are the keys. This is the language of divinity speaking to us right now. Look into this, look into this. Why are you confused? Why are you worried, etc.? Question it, question. Byron Katie always asks these 4 questions. Ask yourself, why am I doing this? And what is happening? And it's maybe, and in what way is it good for me that I just go through this? So there is no need to communicate with the other side. The only exceptions I would definitely say is to speak directly to whomever we consider God, or God energy, or to Christ, whoever we consider that, but not expecting that some Christ comes and speaks to me directly. And it's extremely right, but otherwise I would say be careful. There are a lot of imitators out there. There are charlatans out there in the spiritual world. There are a lot of negative energy, and they can pretend marvelously, and we fall for it.
Yes, yes. And and I really love that you're saying all this. And one of the reasons why I ask these things is just because you're able to kind of put these things in simpler words. And I feel like right now, especially in our society with this awakening, mass awakening, I should call it. It's as if, there's so many things that people are studying and trying to get into. And I really agree with you with just when it comes to connecting with these other beings and stuff, you don't even know who you're connecting to and what you're connecting to. And so it can just essentially confuse somebody even more, or even put them in a place of like, I don't know, it's like a spiral essentially, and you spiral down on this, and then you never quote come back to this realm and where we need to operate daily. And so yeah, that's important to highlight.
And the other thing is, if somebody speaks to you and so, isn't something wonderful to tell my friends, oh, I can channel so and so, etc. Oh, my ego loves it. And the moment our ego is into that one, it's definitely nothing from a higher spiritual world, because it's definitely there. We are not ready for anything of extreme high vibration. So like attracts like. So chances are that these are negative energies. So I would be careful. But if it helps other people, I'm not saying shouldn't do it. I'm just saying I personally would be extremely careful with it.
For sure. Yeah, that's important. And so if somebody has a lot of quote, quote, different callings or goals, you would say, or they would say they have, let's say they feel like there's spirits calling them to sing and to dance and this and that, whatever it is, right? What would you recommend for that person to align with what to do first?
Do whatever you feel like doing, as long as you don't expect a certain outcome for it. Do it for the joy of it. If you like to dance, stand up, get off of the chair and dance. Not because you want to become a great ballerina, but at the moment you're dancing, that's fine. If you want to paint a picture, go write a picture and paint a picture, or write whatever you need to do. If that is an energy from you coming out there just to express itself, because we are creators, we are co-creators, let's go for it. But the moment we put an end goal to it, oh, maybe I want to become a famous writer and have my book in the bookshops and so on, kill it. Then it's probably coming from another energy. But use that energy, do it, and do it until you get tired of it, because by doing so, you may be discovering something very different. For instance, if you learn, I want to do dancing, for instance, and yeah, just for the fun of it, you go to take some ballet classes and so on, and suddenly you meet another person also doing and so on, and he or she talks about a job which is offering. Says, "Wow, this could be interesting." It could very well be that your soul will follow your joy through that ballet room, where they then meet maybe your partner or whatever it is, someone important who will lead you to the next step. But it can be something very different than dancing. But if we follow our positive energy, I think that is very good. But the problem is that we connect them easily with an end goal, a purpose, a way to make money and fame and appreciation. But if we do only that with calling, as we said earlier, because we feel, I want to do this, do it. Follow your drive, follow your joy, follow your bliss. It's was it said anyway. Follow your bliss, and by doing so, you may discover new opportunity, new things which come to you, and will probably bring you onto another level. So following that list, following that is very, very good. But the moment we put a price tag to it, or a result, that's how the outcome with an image of a certain outcome, we are in our ego again, and not in the joy of our heart.
Yes, yes. And that's important because our ego, again, is the drive for a lot of what happens in our reality. So, yeah. So then for you, what has changed in your life truly when you just really started to operate from a place of love?
I always come back to serenity, inner calmness, inner peace. Nothing really grand or whatever it is. I just sort of feel, and I feel connected to something much bigger than myself. I would say that's would be a good description. Because the highest love, the highest form of love is always service. God is serving us, and we are serving everything above us. And the animals are serving us, and we are serving the animals. It's a circle. It's a constant circle. But loving is service. So whenever we do some form of service in a loving fashion, it is something which affirms our true identity of who we are.
Yes.
And whenever we are true we are, we have no inner conflict. There is no conflict, because this is what I mean, I have that partly when I draw and when I do some art. There is no conflict. It does not necessarily be a picture for anything which I will sell and so on, but I just having the fun of doing it right now. When I do my videos, I do have the same similar feeling. That's just I enjoy it because I learn something from it, and all the time. So doing it for the joy of it, and let it be of service in some way. But the result, what I see, is usually calmness, inner peace, being connected to something bigger than oneself. And I have zero interest of the approval or acknowledgement. And if somebody else takes it, if they need it, it's okay. You just let it, because you realize whatever is there on energy, and it comes to you, doesn't come from you, it comes only through. You're only a vehicle, a channel for it. And so you give credit to the one that comes from.
Right, right. Yes. And I really, really feel that. personally to come into that realization too. Life just operates so much more differently. It's like you wake up truly being in joy, feeling joy, knowing that everything that happens to you is for the fact that you need to learn this, or like earth is school, so yeah, it's a beautiful expansion.
There are no,
um oh, go ahead.
there are no coincidences. Everything is carefully orchestrated for our awakening.
Yes, yes. Like this moment. Thank you. So, so what are some projects or programs in the near future to expand Life Explained for you?
What are my new projects?
Yeah, just if you want to talk about your upcoming things that you have, that you'd like to do, and
Well, I just create whenever I have a topic which interests me, I'm working with. I just try to illustrate it for myself and make a video of it. I don't have any big plans to make it anything different than what it is at the moment. It could very well be one day, but right now I enjoy what I'm doing, and I'm just adding a video maybe once a month to it whenever I feel it's ready with something which I have understood and shared and maybe even actualized in my life to a degree. Then I share that, and that's at the moment. It's nothing big coming from it, and I just send it out there, and anybody who connects it by accident or not accident or by whatever, it is there for them to read. And not everybody finished the video. A lot of people just sort of 2 minutes and then they're off, and that's fine. It's perfect. And what I'm surprised is, though, I must say that there are very, very few negative comments. Nasty ones I erase. Sometimes they happen, but once in a month maybe somebody, and it's the person just talking about him or herself. I mean, sad people who have to write everything in capital letters and so on because they are very, very disturbed. That's possible, but for the most part, no. Everybody's very serious about it. I unfortunately cannot answer these comments anymore because there are simply too many. And therefore, I just sort of, if anybody wants to write to me, it's all on the video. My email address is on the video. So if anybody wishes to contact me directly, which they do, they can send that to me. But that's what I do. I just share my videos and I do my books for young children mostly and have fun doing that. And as I do it, I have fun. Hopefully that they get published and sent out and shared with other people.
I love it. I love it. And honestly, Hans, I just want to say I love that you're just so organic and just you, because there's such a big even with these creators and content creators or YouTube creators, it's like they get pushed to feel like, oh, I need to put out something once a week or once a month or whatever it is, and then they get on this whole matrix of, oh, I got to follow this, you know what I mean? And you just let everything come organically. Everything you do is organic. And so I just want to say I respect that truly.
Well, I said the moment we are concerned by numbers, how many views, and it's ego. The moment we are interested in ego, and sometimes in business or life, we need to have numbers and to sell something, etc., to make a living. I'm not saying it's all negative, but when we do something like this, or videos and so on, how many clicks, how many likes, and so on. Yes, I do enjoy that, see that it is appreciated and so on, but some get more, some less. It's fine. As I said earlier at the beginning, I only do this for one person. If one person is touched by it positively, that's all which matters. Anybody else is just great for them as well, but I hope that one person will be touched positively. And this creates also my books, which sometimes takes months and months to write and illustrate. If only one person finds a positive move out of it for themselves, they can use, that's all. That's the only thing that gives me the energy to continue.
Yes, yes. It's beautiful because with that thought and your intention was to touch one, you touched millions. So that's it goes back to just being humble, being just knowing that you're here for that bigger purpose, like you said. And when people do it in a place of ego, it just really, nothing works out because it's not for that. And the universe almost kind of shows you as well, right? What you're ready for. So, I know that you really, really believe and truly live this to have the experiences you've had so far in your life. So yeah. But What is a quote that you'd like to leave us all with today that you personally live by?
Well, I think, let me see. Oh, a special quote I really don't have, but I have. Now I just was going to have a poem here, which I usually have lying here, but I don't have it. Sort of life is. Oh, where do I? Let me see. Let me see. It's a lovely one, and it's in by the mess here, but no, I can't. It's not there. But oh, here it is. It's a quote which one day I found in Starbucks. On Starbucks and on an airport, I was stuck in an airport in Chicago for hours, and normally I don't like Starbucks; it's too bitter for me. But anyway, and they had little quotes on the cups at that time. It says, "Life is a school for angels. Love is the teacher. So you do your homework without fear. Death is merely graduation." Jeffrey Kuhn wrote this apparently, and it was on a cup of Starbucks, and it says, "This is all what I'm teaching, but this is all what I believe in. We are angels here. This is the school, and love is the teacher." And that's what it's very simple. As I said earlier at the beginning, simplicity. Everything is very simple. It's the ego that makes it come.
Yes, yes. Thank you, Hans. That was really, really beautiful. And it's just, I love that when you're in a place and then, you get the fortune cookie or something. And then, I mean, the universe is always speaking to you. And so for you to have received that and shared that, I mean, it just, again, connects to how in sync we are truly every day, every moment. So, yeah. And before we go, can you just kind of tell us again how people can connect with you and, just see more of your videos and things like that? And obviously, I'll leave your information in the comment section. But if you want to shout yourself out.
The two live websites, one is hanswilhelm.com, like my name, you see on the screen with the .com at the end. That's where you can also connect directly to either to my books as well as to my it's called lifeexplained.com, the other website, which has all the videos. And if you punch in my name, Hans Wilhelm, into the YouTube channels, then immediately it will come up, all the Life Explained videos channel will come up. So if you don't know the name of Life Explained videos, then punch in my name in YouTube and you will have them all and you can check them out.
Yay. Hans, thank you so much again. You've really made my heart just, I feel like such a familiar energy with you two in general, and just wanted to say thank you, thank you, thank you. You guys, you have to check him out. You guys have to watch a video or two, and you're going to probably get stuck like myself. So definitely make sure you share Hans with people that you feel would be called to his work as well. And thank you again. Bye, Hans.
All the best. All the best. Stop.